everyone, and welcome to the October 14th, 2015 episode of Balls Deep Sports Talk. I am your host, Scotty Ball. Thank you for tuning in on whatever platform, by however means you are tuning in. I do not know if WNLMradio.com, our original and featured way of being broadcast to you every week, normally at 9 o'clock on Wednesday nights, and now on Saturdays from noon to 7, with Balls Deep Marathons every Saturday when the station is working. However, I do not know if it is working or not right now, and I doubt that it is. However, I'm still recording the show because that is just one of many ways that you can listen to and enjoy Balls Deep Sports Talk on a weekly basis. Other methods include listening via the free Spreaker app, which you can download on any device, also the TuneIn app, SoundCloud, and YouTube. Also, please, if you are a fan of the show, a listener of the show, or know someone who is or might choose to be, were they exposed to it, make sure to follow the show on Twitter at BDST Show, and like and friend me on Facebook. Search Scotty-Ball. Not only is it a great way to get me, Scotty Ball, your feedback on what you've heard on the show or what you would like to hear on the show, but it's also a great way to keep up to speed with any show activity news, such as, the WNLMradio.com being down, for example, which it has been on and off here as of late, and might be right now. But no matter what, we're always going to do the show here every week and talk sports. So what sports will we be talking tonight? Well, we've got a ton. Of course, we will be talking Major League Baseball playoffs as they are fully underway. We had a victor in a series last night, or was it 2 nights ago? I don't recall. I think it was last. I don't even recall. But the world seemed to go crazy. It was Monday night, I believe. Whatever. But the Cubs beat the St. Louis Cardinals to advance to the National League Championship Series. So that was huge. The Cubs win! The Cubs win! If only Harry Carey were here. However, he is not. We've also got New York Mets, LA Dodgers going to Game 5. Toronto and the Texas Rangers, Game 5 played earlier today. Get you that result. Also, Kansas City versus the Astros, Game 5 tonight. I believe the Mets-Dodgers Game 5 is tomorrow. Yes, because their Game 4 was last night. So tons of baseball to talk. Obviously, we also got WNBA Finals that we will be discussing. Game 5, the 5th final decisive game, winner take all for all the marbles. It's all on the line tonight in Minneapolis, Minnesota, the greatest city in the United States of America. Well, okay, maybe not, but anyway, that's my city here in my state of Minnesota. They are hosting, as I mentioned, the 5th final decisive game of the WNBA Finals. We will be discussing that. We've got plenty of college football to discuss on this week's show. Not just phenomenal games last week and an even larger slate of awesome games this weekend, but a lot of coaching news off the field and some interesting player news as well. So plenty of college football we'll be talking about, and of course pro football, as we do here every week. Now that it is football season, we'll be discussing my Minnesota Vikings coming off of their bye, hosting the 1-4 Kansas City Chiefs. So you'll get my preview on that. Also, we'll be recapping what happened league-wide while the Vikes were resting and recovering and regrouping, hopefully, last week, as well as getting my picks for this upcoming week worth of games, as well as any news that stood out from last week and up until this point, including performances in last week's games, injury news, things of that nature. We will also be going over what happened last weekend at the President's Cup, which, if you've been listening to the show, I had no idea when the heck it was. I just knew that it was one of these days. It was either last weekend or this coming weekend. Well, it turned out it was last weekend. Found out Thursday. Didn't get to watch very much of it, unfortunately, but a very good friend of mine who is a golf aficionado gave me the full rundown while we were out on the course playing on Sunday afternoon. Beautiful Sunday afternoon, might I add, on what all transpired over the 4 days at the President's Cup. So we'll get a little recap on that, as well as Tiger attempting to beg and claw his way back into, relevancy, for lack of a better way of putting it. But so a little bit of golf to discuss, also a little bit of NASCAR to talk about as we are getting further and further into the final, their playoffs of races, if you will, to determine their season champion. And the Eliminator round, which is the final round of races, is coming up. I think there's only one or two more until that round. So we'll be discussing some NASCAR, trying to get you up to speed on the standings there. We'll also be discussing a little bit of hockey, as hockey regular season is underway. It was in full effect last week. And then if you're a Wild fan like me and many people around me, because I live here in Minnesota, as I mentioned, boom, play 2 games, you win them both in exciting, great, fat, entertaining fashion, and then you got, what is it now, 4 days off, something like that, till your next game, which is tomorrow night in Arizona against the expected to be lowest of the low Arizona Coyotes. But so you'll get some hockey talk, particularly on the Wild, but also we'll try and, just take a quick little spin around the league and catch you up to date on, the little bit of standings that we got so far. Not that you can, really gain much from them this early on when teams have only played like 2-3 games. But we'll go over them anyway. Also, some NBA news, nothing regarding trades or signings or injury, current player injuries or anything of that nature. No firings, nothing like that. Some sad news serious news involving a former NBA star of not too long ago, and also known throughout the social media, pop culture, reality TV entertainment world as well, by the name of Lamar Odom. So we will be discussing that story, which at first glance seemed almost, you'll get my take on it coming up. Tiny bit of soccer perhaps, although I will avoid that if at all possible. That'll definitely be one of the first on the chopping blocks when we're running out of time, and also some WWE Pro Wrestling for sure before we're done. Speaking of running out of time, we're definitely going to try and keep the show to 2 hours or less tonight. We are running a bit behind here this evening on the show, as for me, a family man here in Minnesota, it is MEA week or weekend, and so my plans in life got, a little complicated, switched around, changed, not complicated necessarily, but, things got changed, plans got changed on very short notice. So that's why we're coming a little bit late tonight. I'm sure you understand. But anyway, that's what like I said, we'll be trying to keep the show to 2 hours or less, and we know how good of a job I do whenever I say something like that. So, what to choose for our opening segment topic here this evening? Man, there are plenty worthy candidates. My Vikings being back off of the bye, I've got plenty of good Viking / pro football stuff. Bold prediction regarding our defensive performance and the aftermath of trading away one, my man, linebacker Gerald Hodges. But not quite on fire worthy. College football, holy guacamole! The last 10 days in NCAA football has been just absolute insanity. Maybe, I don't know. We'll put that one there as a maybe. No hockey, no golf, NASCAR, nothing like that. WNBA Finals, fifth and final game tonight in Minneapolis, Minnesota. Very tempted to go balls on fire, WNBA. Very, very tempted. But then the one other option would be balls on fire, baseball. Gotta go baseball. Are you kidding me? Are you watching these playoffs? If you're not watching these playoffs, because granted, it seems like all the teams are playing on the same days at, just at a different time. Like one game's at noon, one game's at 3, one game's at 7, one game's at 10. Just weird stuff. Like it's hard to watch or listen to these games live as they happen. The way that the scheduling's kind of been, hopefully that will change for the better now that we're going to be in the championship series round. But these baseball playoffs are, unless you're a Yankees fan or a Pirates fan, again, if you were listening last week, sorry. Man, I knew it as I was saying it, that I was giving them the jinx kiss of death, whatever you want to call it. But I picked the winner, what I picked last week, okay, for the record. Hit opening segment. Let's start it. 1, 2, 3, say it with me. Balls on fire. Major League Baseball playoffs. Out of this world. Right now. Casual baseball fan. Diehard baseball fan. Young, old. East Coast, West Coast. Small market, big market. Whatever your pitching, hitting, whatever your flavor is for baseball, it is going on in the playoffs this year. Like I said, easy to not be enjoying them if you are a Pittsburgh Pirates fan or a New York Yankees fan. They were the losers of the horrendously structured, it needs to be changed before next year's playoffs, wild card round or series or playoff game, because let's call it what it is. The wild card round series playoff game, all air quotations, is a 163rd regular season game for the 2 best non-division winners who get to play a one and done, win and you're in, lose and go home, play-in game to the playoffs. It's not a play-off game, it is a play-in game. And with Major League Baseball's almost unbearably long 162 game regular season that is supposed to be so meaningful and important, is even more